All right, welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is Tuesday, July 6th, 2021. George W. Bush turned 75 years old today, and I think that's very important for a lot of reasons, which we'll get to in just a moment. And before we get to everything I want to talk about, including the death of the NHL goalie during the time of the Stanley Cup, if you missed the story, a 24-year-old professional hockey player for the NHL reportedly died on the 4th of July. Coincidentally, during the time of the Stanley Cup, the championship for the NHL. And the story is that, some fireworks, started shooting off the wrong direction. People panicked and got out of the hot tub real fast. And he, the professional athlete who happened to be in the hot tub, he just happened to slip and fall and crack his head open and die. And coincidentally, during the Stanley Cup. And year after year, we're documenting how there are death rituals like this all the time in the world of sports and championships, and no one in the world seems to blink an eye, as if, see no evil, hear no evil. Ignorance is bliss, this whole thing, and this doesn't really work. I mean, sick stuff is going on in the world, and people are just marching along like they don't care, and there's, what are they supposed to do about it? That's their attitude. I don't care. What am I supposed to do about it? I don't care. It's like, okay, where's that going to get us? Where are we going as a society? I mean, you guys wonder how things got to be so shitty? And for all the people out there who don't think things are shitty because, the store has all this nice convenient food and the microwave and awesome TV and like you're totally into the world in that way, you're into the world in a very superficial way. The way I look at the world is, man, the world could be such a much more beautiful place. That's the way I look at the world. And I think we could easily get there. And I think a lot of it has to do, the reason we're not there is because we let evil entities control us who put their evil in front of our face every day and expect us to just go on with our lives like, I don't care. There's nothing I can do about it. What about, is there something all of us could do about it? How's that ever going to happen? It's like, how's that ever going to happen, man? What the hell's that thing in your hand right there? You could send 1,000,000 emails at once. Like you could imagine that. That's the power of today, you guys, and we don't even utilize it. Can you imagine if other people in the past, again, censorship's a real thing, but still, the point that I can write a message and get it to 1,000,000 people in a moment, like back in the day, if I had to get a message to 10 people, man, I had to write 10 letters, put them on 10 different, couriers. They got to ride their horses through the countryside. I want to reach 10 people right now with a message. Boom. I can do it in seconds. And so again, I mean, all the power is there to organize a network, and you see why it doesn't happen, though. I mean, it's because we were raised not to cooperate. We were raised to compete and, be skeptics and haters and only trust authority. But anyway, you guys, I mean, society has to change or something drastic is going to change. And, the powers that shouldn't be have been hitting at that, and you can see what they're doing and the ways they could bring it about. Are we going to see a story this summer where a major city loses power for a considerable period of time while there's extreme heat? CNN with their headlines. So far, 10 dead from extreme heat power outage. 5,000 and some unheard from. You know what I mean? I just love how they always give us these numbers and these stories. The stories are just such a fuck you. It is just sick, man. But anyway, we'll get into all the same old. Next month, it'll be 8 years of teaching and presenting this information. And man, I'm telling you, in the information age, the stuff we've been putting out, the stuff we've called before it happened, it should have reached way more people than it has by now. By the way, if you guys want to get my ebooks for free, I reposted them on the top of my Patreon today. I figured for George W. Bush's 75th birthday, I deserved to give another gift to the world for free about exposing what really is the New World Order, something him and his father both used to utter while they're president. And of course, his father has the most infamous speech given on September 11th, 1990, 11 years to the day of 11/9 or 9/11, when the great tragedy happened while his son was president in New York, the 11th state, the Empire State, 11 the master number, with the big buildings that look like 11s, the World Trade Centers that were 110 stories tall, 110, first hit by flight AA-11. Anyway, before we get to all that, I just want to. I've just been so. I shouldn't have gone to Seattle, man. I wish I didn't go to Seattle. It was good to see Vanessa. It was good to see. It was good to see all the people who came out. The reason I always say Vanessa first is because she stayed out there the longest. Everybody else who came out, shout out to all of you. It was good to see it. You guys were the reason that it was good. But man, I've been so annoyed since I got back from Seattle because I just realized like big tech. It's not just censorship on the computer. If I want to go out on the streets of Seattle and I want to put what I'm doing on the streets on big tech is going to be there to make sure that that doesn't happen. That's what just happened to us the last 2 times we went to Seattle. It's just so obvious. They got these paid-for agents blasting music next to us the whole time so that the big tech auto, whatever it is, AI picks up on those songs that it all knows, just like, what's that app that came out when smartphones came out? That was the first thing that I thought was really cool about a smartphone. Like, I was just trying to stay away from it. When the whole cell phone thing came out, I already saw the downside of it right away, including people having tabs on you at all time. I was the type of person, like, sometimes I just didn't want to pick up the phone because I was always so busy, and even just the ringing phone, and I'd be like, oh man, yeah. Anyway, I know with a cell phone, man, it's just like you're never going to be able to get away from people, and sometimes you just need like an excuse because I need to work on something and not be on the phone. But yeah, cell phones got popular when I was in high school, and I believe I was a junior in high school when everyone started to get those little Nokia phones where you could put on a different cover. I think that was my junior year. It was right around when I was 16, and I was like the only one by the time I got out of high school that still didn't have a cell phone. I didn't want one. And everyone was like looking at me like I was funny. I was like, you guys need to get a hold of me. You know what my number is? Well, the cell phone, carrying around a cell phone in my pocket. I thought cell phones were like for rich people. Until then, like it was always the big gray clunky one in the cars like rich people had. But anyway, now it's just like, man, it's not even that. It's just like everyone's living in their phone. You're on the bus. Like it's hard to even start up a conversation with somebody because like everyone's just like downright. Plus they got headphones in. It's just all this stuff. But anyway, you go out on in Seattle, and again, the thing is, the next time I go to Seattle, I'm going to go unannounced and see what happens. I'm going to see if there's a guy there right away with a mega speaker and a computer and a desktop and a place to sit that he's got all nice and set up and said, as soon as you go on that bullhorn there, as soon as you do that, I'm going to be blasting you out all day. And he said that as soon as I got to the corner, and it's like he's waiting for me. And the last time the same thing happened to us, it's just like, it's so obvious, you guys. They're working so hard to suppress anybody who has any information about what is really going on. And it's just, yeah, I just don't know what else I can do. It's like, I'm getting older, I got a lot more years left in me. It's not like I'm about to die or anything, but I'm just watching myself get so much older, and it's like I feel like the world is way further behind than when I first started 8 years ago, and I knew it was such a crucial moment. And I'm not shocked or anything. It's just so disappointing to watch it happen. And still, I thought just the truth community as a whole, not even just my work, but just the truth community as a whole, in the crucial time of the 21st century, where it seemed like there started to be a lot of traction around 2010, it really seemed like it was going to go somewhere, and it just seems like then it's just gone down. Like, the biggest thing in the truth community has become if the earth is flat. And it's like, oh my God, man. Really? This is what we're going to fight over right now as people that need to get on board? The people who see something's wrong. See, that's the thing about most flat earthers. They see what's wrong in the world, but their most passionate subject that they put pretty much all their eggs in that basket is the flat earth. They just care about that more than anything. And it's just like, oh my God, man, these people. And you talk to a lot of them, they're like, well, I just kind of woke up. It's like, yeah, I see that. I guess you don't really know what's going on in the world if your big priority right now is arguing over what shape the earth is. Bad shit's coming, man. That's what I've been telling you guys the whole time. Bad shit is coming. 19-year cycles. 2020. Anyway, the thought is, like, is it that? See, that's what's so hard about having Sweet Lady. Like, I'm not going to give up Sweet Lady. I have to give up Sweet Lady to do the things that I really want to do for the movement, Because it's just, or more time's going to have to go on before she's finally comfortable with it. I mean, that's the other thing too, but time is of the essence. And, like I would love to just get in a car and just drive city to city and see if other cities we can get away with doing this, or if we do this city to city, or if the same type of thing would happen. And, and just fill out the, let's figure out where the people seem to be the most woke in the nation. I like to do that just on my own feet. If I went to a city and spent a week in major cities and did the ground pound campaign, we would definitely be able to see the different vibe of cities and how they respond to the information. There might be a spot where we're like, you know what? Something's going on there. More people are resonating. There's something going on there. We got to figure out where the right spot is to go. And I'm pretty sure the right spot to go, if there's going to be a spot where we eventually get a community of enlightened minds to build a community together. You think about like how the Mormons took over a state, Utah, right? It became the Mormon state. Maybe there's a state that's right for the taking now for the truth seekers. Things are optimal there. Things are maybe already going on. Maybe they're on the right parallel. I don't know. Maybe that makes a difference. The sun's energy reaches you a different way there. I noticed when I went down to the South, when I went down to Louisiana last year, I just noticed how much people are truly friendlier. And just the way, like, you go into a restaurant and somebody pops out and opens the door for you. I mean, that happened. I don't know what restaurant's doing that up here in the Pacific Northwest. I mean, there might be one out there. I might have been there one time, but it was like everywhere I went down in the South, I was like, look at this, man, even this place. It's just smiles all over the place. You don't see a lot of smiles up in the Pacific Northwest, and there's a lot less sun. This town is different where I am right now. It's a sunny spot, but I'm just talking about where most of the people live in the Northwest, on the western side of the state, where it's cloudy and wet and gray. And where I was in Seattle, man, where it's sabotage city for trying to get out the truth. But yeah, I feel like it's like a immovable object trying to do what needs to be done in this world. And I don't think that is the case. I don't think it is an immovable object. I just think like humanity's not there yet. And so I tell myself, I was like, well, I guess you just got to keep planting seeds and just keep doing it anyway, because, maybe it'll take off 100 years after you're dead and gone. I mean, a lot of things are that way in this world. So it's like, I'm never going to quit on the movement, but man, I got to tell you guys, I might just not, I don't know, man. I feel like I have this much less energy. I still have plenty of energy, but it's just like, I don't know, man. I feel more burnt than I ever have in the last 8 years of doing this. And it's just because, I mean, it's because everything's happening that I thought was going to happen, sadly. And it's just like, damn, man. But the one thing that's wrong is I thought there'd be a greater organization and coming together of like minds. And, I just imagine there'd be more of a plan of action. And for people to say, well, I should have done that. I did that a long time ago. And I brought up many times, there's nobody's really stepped forth that has that offering. And, not that anybody's obligated to, but I mean, you would just think in a world of resources and abundance, there'd be people out there that would say, yeah, this is what needs to happen. I want to be part of that. And I don't know. So anyway, can we even speak out on the streets of America and put that message out online without the big tech censorship actually coming to us on the streets? That was the way they figured out how to destroy the last stream I did, because the platform I was using that didn't censor me, what they do though automatically is they block out big parts of the stream where the audio is being picked up, that's being blasted by the agent that's down on the corner. So the Twitch stream, it was like 6.5 hours in Seattle that I was out there, and it recorded the whole thing. And I think there was a little section where it went down for maybe 20 minutes, but it did almost the whole thing. But then I couldn't even download it like I was able to download all the other videos because of the copyright thing on it. So, it's just frustrating because you're trying to go out and there were some good interactions from that day that were still captured, talking to some young girls and just, how they listened and thought about things. And I mean, there were other people too, but like I thought the one with the younger girls would have been nice because they told the story of why they got the vaccine and how one of their moms was a nurse. And it kind of seemed, I kind of felt bad because I was trying to put things like as nicely as possible, but I mean, it's just sad how many young people went out. When I say younger girls, they were like 19, 20, but they were both already vaccinated and they're both in college but they listened and they had questions and one of them seemed to get it a lot more than the other. But yeah, it's just so anyway. But all that stuff just to share and just see how people can actually have a conversation about this. I mean, that's part of the reason to put work out there too. Is just show that we can have conversations about these things. That was something that always bothered me as a child. I knew it didn't make any sense, and we're supposedly living in this democracy thing that's based on information and having the right information to make the meaningful, correct vote. But then nobody talks about anything, because everyone would always tell you that as a kid, like, oh, don't talk about religion or politics. Like, oh, religion and politics aren't things to talk about. It's like, religion and politics aren't the things to talk about. Those seem to be the things controlling everybody. Seems that most of the adults, when I hear them talk about stuff, they're talking about either some religious crap or some TV politician crap. But we're not supposed to talk about those things? I guess we're just supposed to be instructed from the news media and then, like, get worked up about it and maybe say something to our, in our own house, but we won't talk about it anywhere else. Don't you guys see how this whole game is, man? And it has been. And it is just a game. And again, when you learn this knowledge, you start to see how it's all by the numbers. So, an NHL goaltender slips and falls on the 4th of July, cracks open his head and dies. Nothing suspicious, right? Dead on 7/4. And don't forget that 3 of the first U.S. presidents all died on July 4th. On July 4th, 1826, Jefferson and Adams died. Third and second president, respectively. Adams 2, Jefferson 3. They both died July 4th, 1826. And then 1,826 days later was July 4th again, and Monroe died. James Monroe. So these are 3 of the earliest presidents, all dead on 7/4, what we now celebrate as the nation's birthday. And remember, there's that song out there. It's called Gematria, the killing name. And killing is 74, right? And gematria is 74, the practice of coding numbers into words. And English is 74. Energy is 74. Because really all this stuff's related to Kabbalah and Hermeticism, and everything has a vibration and energy. And, you can use it to have influence in the world over people, etc. But this 74 number is so important, right? Holiday is 74. We celebrate Independence Day on 7/4. And, a lot of Masonic origins with the nation. Masonic is 74. And, of course, Jesuit origins, and Jesus is 74, like cross is 74, like Messiah is 74, like gospel is 74. Again, there's a reason for this number. Again, energy 74, occult, hidden knowledge 74, good and evil, as above, so below. Lucifer is 74, But from the beginning, like we've always pointed out, holiday 74, and when you use the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology, when you write out Independence Day, it's 74. 7/4, right? And again, if you look up Independence Day and why it's celebrated on July 4th, there's no clear explanation, because there's a number of dates that probably would have been better suited than July 4th. But then you learn Gematria and you say, oh. And realize when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, Independence Day is 70. When you run it in reverse with the rules of numerology, it's 70. Remember how Joe Biden wanted 70% of the nation vaccinated by July 4th? COVID vaccine, 70. Coronavirus, 70. I'll tell you what did hit 70 in the Capitol on Independence Day. The Dodgers, they went 7-0 versus the Nationals for the season on Independence Day. And with regards to that cipher, if you write out George Washington, who was a Mason, George Washington is 74, and you run the alphabetic order in reverse with the rules of numerology. And again, if you're new here, what we call it the 4 base ciphers, the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology, the reverse alphabetic order, the reverse alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. If you write out Holy Roman Empire, you'll notice it's 187, 88, 74, just like George Washington, who was favored by the Catholic Church, where the Jesuits who served the Catholic Church were in D.C. longer than the federal government. And notice if you write out Washington, D.C., when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, it's also 187, like Society of Jesus, 187. And here we are on July 6th, the 187th day of the year. It's a number associated with homicide. There's something strange about the day George Washington died. George Washington. Again, today's George W. Bush's birthday, right? George W. Bush, like George Washington. Today's his birthday, July 6th, the 187th day of the year. Date that can be written 6-7. George Washington died at age 67. Blood sacrifice, 67. Human sacrifice, 67. The 187th day of the year on this calendar, 6-7, like how he died at 67 and his name equals 187. And then again, George W. Bush is born on the 187th day of the year. See what I'm saying? I'm going to come back to this point, but hold on. I just want to make a point about what's in the news today. So today's updated death toll for the condo collapse in Miami or Surfside is 32. And if you read the story, they say there are 113 people missing, right? 113 people missing. 32 dead, 113 missing. And those are the numbers that go with Scottish. Scottish is 113, Scottish is 32. Alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. Remember, the Jesuits and the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, large and in charge in D.C., there's 32 sun rays on the Jesuit logo. The 32nd degree of the Scottish Rite shares the Ad Merum Dei Gloriam motto with the Jesuits. There's another big clue. Scottish is 32. America's 32. 7-4-17-76 has 32 date numerology. The hot dog champion set the new record this year with 76 hot dogs ate on the nation's birthday, 1776. And for the veterans, you guys probably remember when I used to read the comments of a gentleman who'd always write us these lengthy, written in an interesting way, but these posts about the sodomites who run the nation and the history of the dollar bill. He teaches about things like the dollar bill and the original cut Frank hot dog. How a $1 bill is the same length as a traditional cut Frank, and when you wrap it, it fits around exactly one time. And he said the symbolism is the whole system's fucking you in the ass and they got you eating dicks at the same time. And because that's kind of what hot dogs are. They're kind of like flavored dicks, kind of in the shape of dicks. And, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Like, if we're at the end of this sick joke, they've never made it more obvious, right? Pride Month. Like, okay, isn't pride a sin? Like, why? Wait a minute. I'm all for not being judgmental and just letting people do what they want to do, but is the media for that? Because the media seems to want to program and tell people what to do, and if they're not on board with that, then there's something wrong with them. And the masses seem to march along to that tune. You know? They'll be like, oh, that's wrong to call somebody that. But then they'll call you all sorts of names that the media programmed into them in record time. Oh, you sound crazy. That sounds like a conspiracy theory. Are you a conspiracy theorist? Oh, we don't say words like that around here. That's like back in the 90s, man. Yeah, back in the 90s. Back when it wasn't cool. You know. You know what I mean. We used to call them the Green Bay Fudge Packers. You know. Back when that wasn't a compliment. I'm sure in 2020, I bet you if the Packers won the Super Bowl, they'd probably present it that way. You know. They'd have a t-shirt that said that. Be embraced. Be the number one selling shirt in the league. The times have changed. Anyway, this whole thing about the 32 dead and the 113 missing, it comes on the 187th day of the year. And again, the way they etch it on the Masonic headquarters in D.C., ancient with the ampersand, ancient and accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, 187. just like Society of Jesus is 187. Hold on. And remember, modern Freemasonry, we just had the Miami building collapse on Freemasonry's birthday, June 24th. Modern Freemasonry began in 1717 in the Jesuit independent city-state, the banking district of London, just like Washington, D.C. That, if you don't know, London's divided into 33 neighborhood areas. England's 33. Masonry, secrecy, order, federal, special number. 33 pillars, each 33 feet tall, on the Scottish Rite House of the Temple in Washington, D.C. And again, that's where I began. At the beginning of this, I didn't know to run the alphabetic order in reverse. I just knew these two ciphers that I learned from Manly P. Hall's book. And I noticed things like order, secrecy, masonry, all 33, same with federal. And I thought, the Masonic city is what D.C. is known as. And I was like, look at that. The House of the Temple's got 33 pillars, each 33 feet tall. The police are associated with the Masons. You got the Fraternal Order of Police with the Masonic handshake and the logo. Police is 33. When I first began looking at if gematria was actually something that could explain the number phenomenon I was witnessing in the news for the last 10 years, 10 plus years at the time, from 2001 to 2013, I thought there was something with the news and numbers. 33, a number that they throw out all the time. 47. And when I found gematria, I just said, wow. Okay. So anyway, all of this is a coincidence if people dismiss it that way. Does that mean that they're intelligent people? If they just say, oh, media makes fun of conspiracy theories, so this has to be a coincidence. I'm not even thinking about it. That's stupid. I mean, that's how most people react. It's like, really? So you want to tell me that 33, that's the highest, degree of the Scottish Rite, where their headquarters is in D.C., where they got 33 pillars on the outside, each 33 feet tall, which are all facts. Look it up. And you want to tell me that this code revealed in a book by a Mason who advanced to be a 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason? If you read about Manly P. Hall, he also waited 47 years to achieve the 33rd degree. I believe it's from when he got his 32nd degree. He waited 47 years to get 33. I go back and double check that. It's something like that. And we know 47 is so important to the Masons. Pythagorean theorem, 47th problem of Euclid, cornerstone for DC, laid on the 47 date, the big number in the city as well. I started, if you guys can't tell, I did start smoking a little bit again, weed, and it's been good for stress, but it is not good for my throat and lungs, I'll tell you that much. Getting older for sure, so I'm like, man, maybe smoking weed, maybe sometimes it can be. Some people might be better built for it, but man, because I didn't smoke for the longest time. Back in the day, smoking was easy, but now I don't smoke that much, man. It can parch the throat, so hold on. Anyway, coming back to this. And by the way, all the stereotypes about weed, for some people they're true, but they're not true for all people. Like, people always say weed make your memory real bad, you can't remember anything, it makes you stupid. I noticed right away when I tried smoking weed that it was not that way at all for me. I was like, wow, I have a greater perspective on things. Why didn't I think about that before? Like, it was a positive experience, and I was like, man, so many years of commercials and just all this, reefer madness is all this bullshit. And some people, again, never smoke weed for the first time if you're drinking. That is a really bad way to smoke weed for the first time. The first time you smoke weed, just a little bit. Definitely not while you're drinking, especially not while you're drunk. Almost everybody smokes weed for the first time while they're drinking, and then they get the spins, and then they have a bad experience. That happened to my sister when she was a teenager, and she hates weed because of that. And I say, Jen, that's because you did it at a party. She doesn't even listen to anything. She just thinks she knows everything. So that her one little experience shaped her whole worldview on it, and she doesn't want to hear anything else. And that's how too many people are in this world. But anytime I bring up weed, I always got to remind, don't drink and smoke And if you do smoke, make sure. Also, that's the other thing about smoking. Be around people that you like being around. Don't get peer pressured into smoking weed, because weed can make you paranoid, and that'll happen to you if you're like in a bad frame of mind. If you're already around some people that you don't really like being around, and now they're getting peer pressuring you into smoking weed, that's not going to be a good experience for you. You're going to be like thinking like, these people are even worse than you already thought they were. So yeah, again, that's how we should be taught in school. We should be taught the real truth about things, like how to be responsible in the world, how to know how to use all things to your benefit. Food. I realize, you know what makes me mad? Ever since Sweet Lady finished all of her schoolwork for pharmacy, she's been just researching nothing but natural healing and natural medicine, and now she's like, man, I wish I would have done this. And I said, didn't I tell you to do that? She got a year of internships at pharmacies now, and she's realizing that natural health is where it's at. And I was like, well, the good thing is now that you know all this shit about all this medicine, and you know it from that professional perspective, and so maybe in the long run, it's going to put you on the right path. But I'm actually happy this is happening, because she's like, I don't even know if I want to work in a pharmacy. I said, I would never be mad at you if you didn't. I said, because again, you guys, I was kind of disappointed when all of a sudden she changed to going to pharmacy. That wasn't the original plan, but I was like, I wasn't going to tell her what to do. And I mean, she's a good person. And again, her main reason is that she wants to take the knowledge back to her country, because people die from mismedication use over there left and right. It's a very common problem in Burma. And I didn't realize how big Burma's population was, and she didn't either. I said, your country's got a lot of people for how small it is. No wonder they're sending them all the wrong meds. It's probably a form of population control. And think about that. Think about that, you guys, with everything going on right now. That's Sweet Lady's experience. Just people dying left and right from mismedication usage, because doctors just give out random ass shit if you come in and say you have some problem. So, yeah, I mean, New World Order, man. We haven't even got to it. Let's talk about George W. Bush, Mr. New World Order. But yeah, just look at these headlines on July 4th, you guys. NHL goaltender slips and falls and dies. And a golfer gets shot to death on the course. You know what time they reported this golfer died at? If I'm not mistaken, they reported the shooting was at 10:13. They had to be real specific about it. That 113. That number of deception. You know, we just talked about it right here. This whole story is complete bullshit. Building falls down in free fall demolition on Freemasonry's birthday, the builders. And now today, on the most appropriate day for the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry tribute, they come with this. On the 187th day of the year, 113 missing, 32 dead. I mean, come on. Same stuff year after year. And then just the golfer, man. I mean, always in championships. In the time of sports championships, just people die from the entertainment world, the sports world. It's just so obvious. It's all ritualistic. It's all connected. Ruled over by sick psychopaths, you know? And look at this, man, by the numbers. The goalie who's dead, right? His name is 80 in the most pure cipher. His full name, just like Tampa Bay Lightning, you know? And the Lightning were up 3-0 when this death happened. They just fell to 3-1 in the last game. Hockey's 31 of the most pure cipher. The loss comes in Canada, hockey's birthplace. I think it is that the Lightning got their 35th all-time away postseason loss in the game. It's either that or 35th away loss of the season. But either way, Montreal's 35. Perfect ritual. But anyway, this guy dies during the Stanley Cup, right? Tampa Bay won it last year. He dies while they're up 3-0 this year. They need one more game. The amazing narrative, what I would love to see happen, I would love to see the Canadians come back. Remember, Canadians is 56, 50-game season, 56 stuff hitting everywhere in sports. Society of Jesus is 56 forwards, 79 in reverse. Tampa Bay 79. The last time in the NHL Stanley Cup a team came back from down 3-0 was 79 years ago, 1942, the Toronto Maple Leafs. And that would be a great narrative. But what's messed up is, you might recall last year, the Lightning won the Stanley Cup exactly 44 days after the lightning strikes of August 15th, 2020 burned up the Bay Area where Tom Brady's hometown is. Lightning in Gematria equals 44. This year, Tom Brady's going to be 44 years old. And again, since he's gone into town, Tampa's done great in championships. This is the 4th championship they've been in, and he hasn't even started his 2nd season yet for the Tampa Bay Bucks. And again, all script. When you know the code, you can get ahead of it. And here's the other thing. You think this is a coincidence? He died July 4th, right? The killing date. And his birthday's August 26th. He died 53 days before his birthday. Stanley Cup's 53. I mean, come on. This stuff this is what we're showing every time. That's why we prove it. It's not just a coincidence that every time these people are dying during the championships, we're able to look at the death and say, look at this. Look how this syncs up with the sports championship. Look how clear this is. The Lightning just won a game a week and a half ago, 8-0. That's a huge hockey score, and we just laughed. We said, come on, man. Tampa Bay Lightning 80 win 8-0. That's a crazy hockey score, but when you know Gematria, you get the joke. You're like, was the goalie drunk this game? He might have been, man. He might have been. That might have been part of the script. They're like, dude, you're not going to like this one. Fucking, here, take some of these and drink some of this. It'll be 8-0 before you know it. Go home. Enjoy being a celebrity. We got a nice blonde beauty back for you at the hotel, and we'll throw in an extra 50 G's tonight. It'll be on the bed with the beautiful blonde, You don't think these athletes are being tempted into selling you out with all this shit, all these young people? What happened to Matisse? Matisse, man, next year going to be your year. We're hooking it up. We got the 3 beautiful naked blondes in the hot tub. Just meet at this address on July 4th. They're yours all night. And then cut open the mattress. We stuck an extra $1 million in there. It's going to be your year coming up tonight, Matisse. She's like, what? All right, I'm in. Matisse didn't realize he was going to be in the headlines, that he slipped and fell in the hot tub and cracked open his head and just happened to die 53 days before his birthday during the time of the Stanley Cup. You know what I mean? I think it's been the same shit. I think that's what happens to most. Think about how many of these celebrities are found dead in hotel rooms. What's going on in hotel rooms? Come on, man. But, yeah, I think that's what's going on. Ralph Nader. I always like Ralph Nader. Sometimes I'm like, man, is Ralph Nader one of them too? But Ralph Nader would always tell the story about, how these women would just approach him once he just shunned them all off, man, and he just knew something was up because women never came at him before. But now that he was famous, now that he tells a story too of like some woman trying to set him up with something, but. Yeah, I'm sure women that are employed to do this get a guy, attract guys to a certain spot. I mean, it might not be them that are the lethal agents, or they could even be that too, man. They could. But I mean, it could just be getting these people to the spot. I mean, we're always asking ourselves, like, how did they end up on that corner, like that exact number for the ritual? It's like, are they baited there? What's really going on? And I know what's always bait for men, and that is women. So, but yeah, man, it's sad. It's sad that this goes on, and the powers that shouldn't be. Oh, you know what? I might have had the golf killing time. Actually, he's the 1013. Sorry, I said the golfer was 1013. Hold on, he's 1013. Nova Fire and paramedics were dispatched for an injury call at 10:13 p.m. 10:13. Okay. 113. You know what? 113 is the 30th prime. Again, Tampa was up. Yeah, okay, that could be part of the joke. Tampa was up 3-0 in the series at the time. And Tampa, when you run it in reverse with numerology, is 30. Remember, it was a couple simple tosses from Brady to number 84 that finally got the Bucs offense going. Super Bowl 55 was the 51st of the modern era. Tampa, the first city to win it in their hometown. Again, all the ritual. But okay, that's that. And with regards to George W. Bush, again, 187th day of the year. George Washington, 187. Washington, D.C., 187. One of these guys born for the throne. His dad was Mr. New World Order. He was Mr. New World Order. Again, this was a phrase they used. And he turned 75 today. And here we are in 2021, the beginning of this, set year back in the 90s, back when his dad was president. Agenda 21 was happening right when his dad was leaving office. But again, this New World Order plan for carbon emissions and how to make it a way so that people will be consuming way less. Well, how about make everybody's money worth jack shit, make everything super expensive, make everyone afraid, make everyone, stressed out, put everyone in a spot where it's just impossible to do anything. I mean, I'm just, oh my God, just everything right now, man. How they've inflated prices and made things so expensive. If you now would be a really hard time to get a piece of land, and it's just like, when there's almost enough resources where it's like, okay, this has been coming in at a decent enough clip now where we can probably, if this stays this way with like the Patreon support, we could probably finance like a pretty big project here. But now it's just like, oh my God, and right as we're finally getting to the spot where we can do that, now prices go through the roof, and it's just like, we need like 4 times as many followers now to do anything. And yeah, it's just why, that's also, you guys, why I'm just stressed. It's just like, I don't want this to be too little too late. I mean, there's always got to be faith. And it might be for our generation, and unfortunately a lot of the young people living today, because, I mean, you look at a lot of the young people living today, I mean, just look at it from a real perspective, understanding that psychopaths rule the world. Does it look like they give a fuck about these kids? Feeding them all this trash? They look out and see the same young population I do. A bunch of fat little kids, man. What kind of life do you think they're going to have? They're going to have health problems from the onset. Now, in this world where it sounds like we're going to need COVID booster shots they're saying, did you see the latest headline? How 2 COVID boosters a year should cover it? Oh, fuck, man. So now it's like 2 extra flu shots a year, plus the flu shot they'll probably say you need. And again, realize you can't talk about anything. You can't talk about anything. Man. God, I thought everybody's going to be autistic by 2050. Now they're saying it looks like by 2030. Couldn't be those increase in shots. But anyway, I think that's what they want, man. They want a ruling class and like a bunch of, I don't even know. I don't know, man. It seems like what they want. You know how Kentucky Fried Chicken figured out how to mutilate a chicken so that it grew like so fast before it's that, if you didn't know that, if you ever heard about Kentucky Fried Chicken, they're probably still doing it. But Kentucky Fried Chicken figured out how to genetically engineer a chicken that its body grew so fast before its legs could handle the body that its legs would become worthless, and it would essentially just be this thing stuck there that could just peck around and eat. So as long as you're keeping the food all around the chickens everywhere, and man, if you miss a spot and the chicken can't eat, well, who cares? He's just going to die anyway. He was going to be made in meat, and we're getting these things for pennies on the dollar. That's the way they look at it, right? Again, all of this stuff to me, this is the kind of stuff I've been looking at the whole time I live in this world. I'm like, man, that's so fucked up. This is just fucked up. And I just knew as a young person, I was like, there's got to be something wrong with eating a chicken like that, because then it goes in you, and you start to realize, like, everyone kind of is getting bigger. Maybe they want to make the human race bigger at the same time. Bigger, dumber, a perfect slave class, strong and stupid. Isn't that everybody's dream slave? Strong and stupid and big. So, I mean, that could be it. We're on our way. They want everybody to eat all this chicken now, man. The chicken wars. Everybody's got a chicken sandwich. If you try to watch one of these sports games, it's like the commercials like, "The beast cometh. Get our spicy chicken. Get our chicken. The beast cometh." It's like, well, God, man, all I'm getting is Ford Beast cometh and get this chicken sandwich. And here's Chris Paul for State Farm, who's now in the NBA Finals by the numbers. Yeah, did you guys notice that Chris Paul clinched his finals berth on his 56th day of his age, having a 5-6 birthday, playing for the Phoenix Suns, the only team in the league with 56 gematria and the most pure cipher with the full team name. The only other one is Bucks equals 56, which is the most simple cipher, and then Miami Heat, when you run the alphabetic order in reverse with numerology, is 56. So there's 3 out of the 30 teams. So 10% of the teams, 1 in 10, have a 56 name. We said this, the season was all about 56. I thought it was going to be a repeat of the 56 NBA season, but the Bucks and the Suns were our backup teams in both conference. They made it, so anyway. But we said it was all about 56. Chris Paul, born 5'6", on his 56th day of his age, clinches his first NBA Finals. And what's funny is they changed the NBA Finals dates. Now it's 61 days after his birthday, and Finals is 61. And remember, his grandfather died at age 61 the day he signed with Wake Forest out of high school, and there's a ESPN 30 for 30 on that, which has been around for a long time, since I was young. Chris Paul's, that probably came out over 15 years ago, but Chris Paul scored 61 the day his grandpa died, 61 the day he signed with Wake Forest, and his grandpa was supposedly randomly murdered. Now, all these years later, he's in the finals, 61 days after his birthday. And again, that's always a big number. Like Kevin Durant, the original finals date, July 8th. Oh, by the way, they're moving the finals date to 7/6. The finals, or the first finals the Suns were in was in 1976. Now the finals begin on 7/6. What's funny is when they pick up their first win against the Bucks in this series, they'll get their 76th all-time win against the Bucks. They're 75-71 against the Bucks. This is the 75th NBA season. And remember, Catholic Church is 75. Catholic is 71. Catholic's also 145, like how the Suns go in 145 and 145 into the finals. Can we talk about all these numbers, these rituals again and again? But the 75 thing with George W. Bush's birthday and the New World Order, I know I've showed this many times before, but I got to show it again. Right here, the New York Times, October 6, 1940, New World Order pledged to Jews. And again, that was a date with 75 numerology, New World Order 75, Order out of Chaos 75, Order 75. That's exactly what we're living out. We're living out the Order out of Chaos agenda. How perfect is it that the son of the man, well, who were both president, who both went to the Skull and Bones at Yale, both uttered this phrase so many times, and now in this year of years where you can really see the New World Order pushing, and everyone in the world would see it if they weren't all programmed to ignore the truth and immediately call it a conspiracy and demonize it. It's just like society is so trained to do that when confronted with the obvious truth. 9/11, an obvious lie. People can't handle it, they get mad. You can't handle the truth, Jack Nicholson line from A Few Good Men. You talk about the pandemic, big tech won't even tolerate it for a second, plus a lot of people can't handle it either. You don't know anybody who died then. And it's like, okay, calm down. You know, my grandma died, just months before COVID happened. I had a recent death of my grandmother. She died from pneumonia, which is, prior to the year of COVID, the symptoms of COVID are pneumonia. And that's a common killer for elderly. My grandmother lived to be her 80s. I mean, a pretty long life, especially for the fact that she didn't really take care of herself. I mean, she must have had good genes to live as long as she did, but anyhow, coming back to George W. Bush in the 75, it is the New World Order number. We're living out the Order out of Chaos agenda. A lot of people are getting caught up in it. The death of loved ones with the COVID label gets them all stuck to the media programming, which creates all this conflict in their life, and then it makes them go along with the thing. Okay, I don't ever want this to happen again. I don't want to lose Grandma to COVID. Grandma's only going to live for so long, man. You want to give up all your rights and liberties? We all got grandparents. We all want people to live as long as possible. Is being afraid of COVID, is this like a real threat to people's health? It might be for people who are very unhealthy and the elderly. Again, if that's what went through Washington State in November and December of 2019, before they reported any of this in the news really in the U.S., before the first confirmed case in Washington State, January 21st, 2020, supposedly got here January 15th on a plane from Wuhan. Remember, that was the day Trump signed his trade deal with China, and then on January 21st, he just happened to be at the World Economic Forum gloating about his trade deal with China. The same World Economic Forum that did the Event 201 coronavirus outbreak simulation on October 18, 2019, 1 month before the outbreak in Wuhan, China. Again, all these big coincidences. But again, you guys, I mean, just New World Order. These guys are all part of it. Trump, Bush, Obama, Clinton, they're all in it. And it's like people are so invested in one side. Bullshit. I agree with all that with Trump, man. Trump was real. Okay, big baby. Oh, my God. No, Trump wasn't real, you guys. I mean, that's why we're all so fucked. It's just like the awake people think Trump is real. The fucking reality TV show guy. The guy that's been on TV and TV shows, movies, in WrestleMania, beauty pageants, The Apprentice. This made-for-TV character from this super rich family, he's what's going to save us from the New World Order. Get the fuck out of here, man. It's just like, God, I mean, just all the shit that people care about and goes viral in this supposed community, it's just like, fucking A, man. I don't know if we're any smarter than the rest of the people that are asleep. For those of you guys that have been here the whole time, I was pointing out how they were treating Trump like the president as soon as he announced he was running. We didn't even hear from Obama anymore. He wasn't even in the news. Every day was what Trump did on the campaign trail. Trump was on TV every day as the top story from when he announced to up to today. Almost. It's still almost that way. This is the biggest distraction ever, this big orange clown. Come on, man. Oh, my God. But, yeah, it's not good that it's his 75th birthday. It is not. It's not, you guys. It's a sign that we are deep in the fucking game, man. And remember, it's the Catholic Church behind all this and the Jesuits. And, yeah. Tomorrow night when we do TFR, I'm going to get Rambo to clarify more. Like, rather than Rambo's next decode, I just want I want to hear more from Rambo about what he thinks is going on in the world. Because I know he's on board with the Catholic Church and the Jesuits have a lot to do with it. But last week he was trying to communicate that he thinks it's something really even above them, which is entirely possible. But still, to me, it's like, you guys, I want to know if he can name something specifically that is, because the reality is the Catholic Church and the Jesuits are things that can be addressed. Maybe that's what I'll start doing. Maybe on Sundays I'll start hanging out outside Catholic churches all day. I won't do it with a megaphone because I don't want to be rude, but just hang out outside with a nice sign with an enlightening message, and just something simple to get people to think about. I could do a different one and test at different churches, but just like even just things with a sign about, have you ever looked into the 33-day Pope going to bed on the Jesuit birthday? Because a lot of people that are in the Catholic Church are more familiar with the term Jesuit, and some of them know that something's up with the Jesuits. I mean, they've been banned by the church itself. But yeah, I guess I'm getting frustrated because, a man only, I guess, what's the saying? You can only, old dogs and tricks. Anyway, those are old sayings. I got to put those out of the mind, but I just feel like my talents, like I'm using them and it's just not good enough. And it's like, okay, I guess I got to make myself better. Getting better at things takes, like, I want to get really good at making videos. Maybe that's the way to do it. But I feel like to get really good at videos, I'm a person like where I focus on something and I want to achieve something, then I go all in on that. Like, look, I've been here for so long doing this for 8 years. But I'd want to, and I know video editing is not something you're going to get good at overnight. So if I did that, I'd want to step away and focus on that. But then I want to keep doing this where it's just like, I need somebody who has the video editing skills, who's really good at it, to just come along. Somebody out there with really good video. But that's the thing too, man. See, then people start showing you what they did. And it's like, okay, that's better than I can do, and that's nice. And then you don't want to right back and say, well, that's not really. I need really good, man. I need really good. Stuff that appeals, like you see a video and you're like, damn, that is a really good video. That's really good. Like, because I think the only way you're going to reach people is with some flash, man. That's what they need. It's like they don't pay attention to anything else. It's got to have pizzazz. So, I don't know. But anyway, what I do know about is this New World Order 75 shit and us living out this New World Order out of chaos agenda. And this asshole turning 75 today is, it's not good. I wish there was a button where you could rewind your life. I want to go back to high school right now and be in Mr. Griffin's class again. With what I know now. That's the. I want to go back with what I know now. And because I still remember Mr. Griffin called me stupid for saying that we might as well not even vote if the national news already knows that it's going to come down to Florida. If the national news is from the polling so certain all that matters is Florida, then what's the point of any of us voting? And Mr. Griffin's response was, Hubbard, you're stupid. He didn't really think that, though. He liked that I debated, but he thought that comment was stupid. And that was the thing that's cool about Mr. Griffin's class. I took it 3 times. But I wish I could go back to that moment and be like, oh, yeah? Check this out, Mr. Griffin. And then whop out the old Gematrinator. Derek's up to his hosting, so his calculator is now working. I launched a website with a calculator, not just because his calculator was having so much trouble so often, but lately it's been good. But again, when you just run the actually, here, we want all the base ciphers up. Again, with the most simple cipher, Yale is 43, right? George W. Bush became the 43rd president in Florida, where his brother was the 43rd governor at the time, right? The 43rd governor. And you guys know why I'm so redundant with this stuff? Because every time I meet one of my followers, I realize they don't remember any of these things. They're like, what's the thing again with Bush and 43? I'm like, holy fuck, man. I've said that 1,000 times. I thought you would know that. But here, I'll tell it again. But Yale, 43. His brother was the 43rd governor of Florida. His dad was the 43rd vice president. Him and his dad went to Yale and were in Skull and Bones. Remember, in the most pure cipher, Skull and Bones is 41. His dad was number 41. And Florida, when you run it in reverse, is 43. And so is football. Think about Brady with the Buck symbol, similar to the Skull and Bones symbol. Football's 43. Masonic's 43. You got the Masonic Secret Society, Skull and Bones at Yale. And you got Walter Camp, who went to Yale, who American football is credited to. You got Brady with the Patriots after 9/11 and the Patriot Act. And then you got him down playing on the Pirate team, who are known for false flags in the time of the chaos in the nation at age 43, right? It all started while number 43 was in office. All this stuff. Mockery, in your face, by the numbers. But I wish I could go back to Mr. Griffin's class and be like, you know about Gematria and how him and his dad are in a secret society? Check this out, Mr. Griffin. Can't remember if we had a chalkboard or a whiteboard in there, but back in the day it was chalkboards and whiteboards. But Yale, I would have just showed it. Y25, A1, L12, E5, Yale 43. You know? Say, look at this. You just run the alphabetical order first with numerology. Look at this. Florida 43. You sure we should be voting Mr. Griffin? Are you sure I'm stupid? Anyway. Mr. Griffin, though, he was out of that school the year after I got out of there. He got a sexual harassment accusation. He was the girls' basketball coach. And then he got a big job promotion. He became vice principal at another high school. So I thought, look how that works, man. You get a sexual harassment charge, they send you to a different school, and you get a job promotion? That guy did call me stupid after all. From my experience in his classroom, even though he was kind of an ass sometimes, I still liked his class because I liked what it was about. It was about having conversations about what's going on and being a participant and learning to speak out. I thought all that was good. So I took the class 3 times. Every time I had like an elective slot, I was signing up for Mr. Griffin's class. So anyway. But yeah, look at this headline today. This is CNN today. A political resorting is dividing America. And this comes on the 187th day of the year, right? Everything we talked about. Society of Jesus, 187. Holy Roman Empire, 187. Washington, D.C., 187. George Washington, 187. Ancient and accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, 187. You know, this is the story right here. The Federal Division Center, controlled by the Jesuits, who use the motto divide and conquer. But it reminds me that earlier I meant to tell you about George Washington dying at age 67. He died on December 14th, right? And what's weird is if you write out December 14th, it's 187 and 88. Remember, when you write out Holy Roman Empire, it's 187 and 88. And when you write out George Washington, it's 187 and 88. And again, 187 is associated with homicide. 88 is associated with poison. And what's weird is the Jesuits are known for killing with arsenic poisoning throughout history. Arsenic poisoning is 187 and 88. And hold on, there's some other overlap here too. What did I just have written out a second ago? That I just saw that 20. I didn't hit enter on something. What other one is 245? I just saw it. It's not that. Is it George Washington? George Washington is. Well, George Washington, why did it refresh? George Washington died unexpectedly December 14th. Arsenic poisoning, George Washington, December 14th. I think they said it was from bloodletting. But also what's weird is if you write out 1214, it's also got that 187 in it as well, just like Washington, D.C. And, of course, George Washington has the 333-foot tall monument in his honor just outside of D.C. in Virginia. But, yeah, I never realized that George Washington and arsenic poisoning are the exact same in 3 out of 4. And remember, arsenic is the 33rd element on the periodic table. Arsenic is 33 in the most pure cipher. The 33-day Pope went to bed on September 27th, the day the Jesuits were recognized by Roman history, and he never woke up again. He was pronounced dead early the next day. But he went to bed September 27th, and no one ever talked to him again. And a lot of people assume that he died from arsenic. So, the Jesuits are responsible for our calendar, the language. Are they responsible for the periodic table? We see how much influence they're having over the world right now and what's science. Just agreeing with everything on TV about what COVID is science, right? Yeah, here, let me put how many masks on my face? What's the latest science? I know it started with no masks. We'd be smudging with our faces, but then it was one mask, and I'm hearing rumors of 2 or 3, so I just want to get it right. What's the latest science here? How many masks should I put over? That was what was sad when I talked to those young girls. They were young, and they said, they used that line on me when I was talking to them on the streets of Seattle. One of them said, "I believe in the science." And I said to her, have you heard of Scientism? And neither of them did. There was 2 of them. I was checking with both. Neither of them had heard of Scientism. And I said, well, it's kind of like turning science into religion. And I told him about looking into Dr. Kerry Mullis and what he said about Anthony Fauci being a liar who just represents agendas, and he'll look into cameras and tell bold-faced lies. Again, Dr. Kerry Mullis is who invented the PCR test that's being used to diagnose people, and he specifically called out Anthony Fauci for misusing that test to falsify diagnoses. So, anyhow. But on the 187th day of the year, the big Jesuit number, the big DC number, CNN has to highlight how politics has never been more divisive. I mean, come on, you guys. Isn't this exactly what I said in the beginning of 2016, why Trump would be the next president at the time? Because they really, the agenda is to get us on this total division. Because I've been telling you guys, they want us torn apart. They want us to tear ourselves down when they pull the plug on us. These are the things I've been explaining the whole time. They're getting the country filled with more hate than it's had in a long time, along all sorts of lines, race, religion, sexuality, all this stuff, what people think about COVID, Trump. I mean, they're just creating all these new things for people to divide and hate each other over. And, it's because they're bringing us to an ugly demise. And we're living it out right now. Don't think just because you're still living, you're not living in the ugly demise. Your quality of life is going down rapidly right now. All of ours is. That's why I'm so frustrated. Because it's just so annoying to watch it happen. And see it. I mean, I saw it when I was 18 years old after 9/11. I said, where are they taking us, man? We're going to a bad fucking spot. Okay. So again, 32 dead, 113 missing. Oh, what the hell? Okay. Look at this shit, man. I missed the 191 in here. I don't know how I didn't see that. 191 people are accounted for, and we have 113. Come on, man. 191 on the 187th day of the year. Again, Jesuits and the Scottish Rite. The entities that clearly control the show, that control DC. 191, 187. Come on, man. Unbelievable. I got to plug that in there. But yeah, the Scottish Rite tribute's obvious. And again, 32nd degree of the Scottish Rite shares the motto with the Jesuits, Ad Merum Dei Gloriam. 32 sun rays on the Jesuit logo. And I don't want to say any more about this story than what the headline reads, besides one thing, because there's nothing else that needs to be said. This was your Saturday gun propaganda. Instead of a shooting this time, the police got there just in time to stop the 11 psychopaths in the woods. Probably be a horror movie about this next year, starring Mark Wahlberg. Massachusetts police standoff. Oh yeah, R.I.P. to your mom, Mark. Don't forget about that offering by the numbers. Massachusetts police standoff with heavily armed men ends in 11 arrests. 11. But who told us the story? I saw it on CNN. I had on the news, and there it was. Christopher Mason about the 11 men in the woods. Again, Masons, cult knowledge, numbers, the master number. It's a joke. And don't forget Massachusetts is part of the whole 9/11 thing either. Massachusetts 33 years from 68 to 2001 when the master plan went into work. Again, you guys know what happened in 1968, right? Here, I'll remind people, you don't have to buy my book. The ebook is free. I just posted it at the top of my Patreon again right before I started this stream. You can download it's a good-sized book. You can download both my ebooks for free. My other book's way bigger than that one. It's over twice as long as that one, but free to download. I always say everyone should read like the first 7 chapters of Letters and Numbers, and especially if you're new, or anybody, there's a lot of information in the first 7. There's a lot of information even beyond that, but I think the first 7 chapters are really good stuff to know, and then not that the rest of the book isn't, but just the first 7 chapters is 100 pages. The whole book's 800 pages. So if you look at this first 7 chapters, it's like, oh, that's not too much to read. Reading the whole book, that might make you just not even start because it's so long. At least read the first chapter in Letters and Numbers. And that's a good thing to share with people. You could just copy and paste it and print it out on some pieces of paper. I'm not coming after you for copyright. I did this information to get it out there. If you just want to print the first couple chapters or the first chapter of my first book, do it front and back, staple that together, man, have people read that. And see if that doesn't make them think gematria is interesting. So, again, when you write things, you can be better than when you present. So, anyhow. Yeah, just all this stuff, you guys, from the NBA to what's in the news day after day. I mean, and Chris Paul clinches the finals on his 56th day of his age, where we said the whole season about 56, and we saw his team doing very well this year, especially with Paul Westphal's death right at the beginning of the year. But then, come on, man. I mean, just in the Western Conference Finals, he misses the first couple games because of the COVID protocol and just another 56 sports ritual. It's just, you guys, it's so scripted. I'm explaining the same thing 2 years in a row about the sports and the script. And if you missed the video I did on the Milwaukee Bucks eliminating Atlanta Hawks 167 days after the debut of the MLK jersey, the 39th prime when MLK was killed at 39 on 4-4, and the Hawks fell to 4-4 in the playoffs. If you missed that video, there's a lot more to it. But of course, we were talking about how it looked like the Bucks were closing out the Hawks. The MLK riddle seemed super strong, and the Bucks put it away in the third quarter with 44 points. But the Bucks had to win with 118 points. And again, the MLK jerseys debuted this year on MLK Day, January 18th, 118, a number associated with death. And then he died from a shooting, and shooting is 107. And again, just the same stuff over and over. But if you missed this video, a lot of information in there. And there's a whole lot more to it. But it's just, you guys, it's ritual. It's clear as day who runs this. That's why tomorrow I want to hear from Rambo. Because again, my point in doing the work is we need to go after the entity that's having so much influence, and that needs to be stopped. And if there's something beyond them, then we'll stop that next once we find out about it. And we're probably not going to know what that is unless we get to the main player in the game. It's like, isn't that the way it is? If you want to find out who's behind the drug lord for the city, you got to get the drug lord, right? The Jesuits have so much to do with this. It's so obvious. Martin Luther, King Jr., dead on the 95th day of 68. The Jesuits created to counter the 95 Theses, recognized by Rome on the day leaving 95 days left in the year. By the way, here's a good 95 sports joke. I wish I would have saw this on April 1st. I would have told everybody that there's probably your Stanley Cup right there. Wish I would have saw this story. We knew there was something up with the Canadians this year because Canadians equaled 56 game season, 56 everywhere in sports as we've been documenting. But on April Fool's Day, Brady did a joke about how he was going to buy the Montreal Expos. Well, I didn't know this about Brady, but he was supposedly drafted by the Expos in 1995. A lot of players drafted into Major League Baseball that never go there. A lot of pro athletes, could have played football, could have played basketball, baseball. But what's funny is the Stanley Cup began 95 days after Tom Brady's April Fool's joke. And it's Montreal versus Tampa Bay, right? So, And by the way, this Stanley Cup Finals began on the 107th day of the year. Tampa Bay Lightning 179, and that's the 41st prime number. So they had an April Fool's joke on 4-1 after they've been syncing up all the Tampa sports with the Super Bowl and Brady, who won it at 43, also won it at 41 over LA. And again, a Super Bowl we saw before the season even began from understanding this knowledge. But, yeah, go back and check that out. And you might have heard that the Pope had surgery on Sunday, the big Catholic day, for colon diverticulitis. I don't even know how to say it. It ends with itis. I got that much. Diverticulitis. That's probably it. Diverticulitis. I get retarded with letters. I realize, like, some people are dyslexic with numbers. I might get dyslexic with letters when there gets to be too many of them. I'm just like, what? My brain can't process that many letters. Diverticulitis. Okay. But anyway, you see the 239? Remember, that's the 52nd prime. Remember when he spoke in D.C. in the Jesuit city on September 23rd, 23/9, the 266th day of the year, when he's the 266th Pope, the first Jesuit, and Isus Hominum Salvator equals 266, the Jesuit motto. It equals 95. The Jesuits created to counter the 95 thesis. MLK died on the 95th day of the year. Fauci 95, the Jesuit who threw out the first pitch where Garrett Cole picked up his 95th career win in that same game in D.C. over the Nationals, the defending champions, after being signed by the Yankees on the 95th day of his age. And remember, New York Yankees with the two simple ciphers, forwards and backwards. New York Yankees 191, 187. Society of Jesus 191, 187. We got 191 people accounted for on the 187th day of the year. And again, it's like I made the remark to Rambo in the middle of his presentation. I was like, look at this. The name of the place that claps, the Champlain Towers or whatever it is, it's the same as Jesuit order in 3 out of the 4 ciphers. And he almost seemed a little bit annoyed for the first time. He's like, oh, but it's things above the Jesuits. And I was just like, well, I don't know why he responded that way today. Okay, I'm just trying to make the point of who's fucking with us every day. So tomorrow when Rambo's on, before he gets into his decode, I want to hear, like, Rambo. I want to know what Rambo's motivation is to do the work. My motivation to do the work is to get enough people to wake up to what the fuck's going on so we can do something to preserve some decency of life. Because these people are not decent, and these people are psychopaths, and they're killers, and they start wars, and they destroy populations, and they've proven that genocide's not beyond them. And most people are asleep at the switch, because just things are too easy. Cheap bag of chips here, pop it open, awesome thing to watch here, this munching here. Realize all this stuff that we like is not good for us. The food that tastes good is mostly not good for us. We're killing ourselves with it. We're addicted to it because it's engineered to overwhelm our taste buds and whatever else goes on in our brain. Read the book Fast Food Nation. Here, this right here. This book right here. This book. Fast Food Nation. Read this one. Read this book. Maybe I should just... I don't even know what else to talk about. Maybe I should go back and read this book out loud. I'm not going to do it today. But he talks about how much money these companies spend engineering food to essentially make us addicted to it. And all this stuff's tolerable by our government. Yeah, it's fine. We just look the other way on that. God forbid a teenager smokes some weed and have an enlightening thought. But fuck, man, we'll get them addicted to all this shit that'll probably kill them by the time they're 60. Yeah, we'll do that because, pals down at Big Pharma, man, they put some nice bribes in my pocket. And they say when I get out of politics, I got a position at their office that's 6 figures. I'm straight, man, as long as I sign off on this today. That's what's wrong with the world. Everybody's thinking like that. This is a bullshit-ass way to be. We all sold ourselves out for fiat currency. But anyway, coming back to this colon diverticulitis, it's also got a 274 in it, okay? Isus Hominum Salvator, 274 forwards, 266 in reverse. He's the 266 Pope. Remember that. And again, you guys, you can see that this stuff's not a coincidence. It's got the 274. It's got the 85 like Templar. The Jesuits have the Templar cross in their logo. It's got the 266. It's got the 122. Pope Francis, remember? 122. named after St. Francis of Assisi, just like San Francisco, which is on the 122nd meridian, where that Gavin Newsom Jesuit thug comes out of, Bay Area. But the other thing on this is 121, which has a square root of 11. And 11's the master number. And who gave us the language? The Catholic Church. Who gave us the calendar? The Catholic Church. Who brought it all together? Clearly, the Jesuits. Half century after they're recognized by the church, bringing in all this occult knowledge, esoteric understanding. You got all this stuff perfectly synced up. A new standardized 26-letter alphabet paying tribute to Hebrew, where 26 represents God through the 4-letter name of God, the Tetragrammaton, and then in English, God is 26 and letters 26, and we got the 26-letter alphabet. This stuff's not a coincidence. But Pope, 52, the calendar's named after the Pope, the Gregorian calendar, 52 weeks in tribute to the Pope. Pope got the 56, like Society of Jesus. It's got the 11, the master number. And the 25, it could just be something as simple as how Earth is 52 and 25. This is to rule over Earth, and they are. There's probably something more to it than that. I'm probably missing something there with that. Rambo might be able to connect that piece. But I got to know what Rambo's motivation is. Is Rambo... Because, Rambo, he brilliantly connects the dots. But what keeps Rambo so motivated to keep doing the work? Because he's another motivated person in the community who's done it for years. What makes him? It sounded like last week he was hinting that, he's after something more than just getting these Jesuits out of position where they're. To me, that's my goal, man. To me, that's the play. These people are destroying our life, and it doesn't mean something else couldn't rise up in their place, but still, you got to stop the things that are working against us. This is clearly a force of evil that needs to be stopped. Murdering, lying, deceiving, manipulating, all this false fear pushed on the world. This is the Murders, Inc. Isn't that what it's called? Murders, Inc.? That Disney Pixar film put out right after 9/11? Or is it Monsters Incorporated? That's what it is. Monsters Incorporated. Monsters, Inc. Monsters, Inc., the cartoon where all the monsters come walking out and they got the hands on 9/11 on the clock, and this comes out right after 9/11. And a movie about scaring people and harnessing their fear energy. Remember that powerful number 74. Energy, 74. The World Trade Center's on the 74th meridian. Talked a lot about 74 in the beginning. But yeah, on a Sunday, and I just wonder. It would be interesting if I'd like to think that he's going to live a while longer, because remember, there's the thing about the 266th Pope being the last Pope. And I guess in a good way, if you want to have a positive frame, that could be a good thing, but the way these people work, that's probably not going to be a good thing for humanity. So I don't see Pope Francis living past age 87, I got to be honest. 87 at the longest. Might give us 3 years to, get some kind of real movement organized where we got these devices where we could actually link up with each other and make something happen, man. Organize, network. This many people at this spot to get out this message. Nationwide, worldwide. Let's see the mainstream media not cover this worldwide, that people are doing this. Because, again, people say, well, the media drowns stuff out all the time. They don't cover the big protests going on over in Europe. You're right, because it's just in Europe. This is a new world order. We got to be on a new world level using this technology. Doesn't mean we have to join any societies or anything. We just got again, I got people ordering the book all over the world. We got people tuning in all over the world. We got to figure out how to network and make things happen worldwide. It's like on dates. It's like we got to agree. And probably mostly on weekends, since that's when most people, everybody's working for the weekend. But, again, even though it just feels like it's too little too late, it's like, somehow this is what's got to happen. If this doesn't happen, it's not going to happen. So there has to be a way to get the right person. And maybe it's just like people worship these celebrities, but don't they realize it's like if these celebrities gave a fuck about you, they'd be using their celebrity power and their outreach to millions of people to be mobilizing. Like Leonardo DiCaprio, supposedly Mr. Environmentalism, who's put out a few films now in the 21st century about what we need to do about planet Earth, you know? Yeah, people think these guys are the heroes. It's like, dude, if he really cared about what was going on in the world, he would be using his celebrity and star power to make things happen. He'd be out on the streets himself. You know? These people can't go out there. They'll get mugged. They'll get killed. Well, let's see. Let's see if that's true. Those are everybody's perceptions. I was in Hollywood once when I was a teenager. My friend's family took me down there, and first time we saw like just celebrities walking around on this little strip, people racing around in Porsche cars. So, I mean, people can apparently go out in public in some places. People got to get bold, too. That's the thing, too. Everybody's just afraid of dying all the time. Everyone's just so afraid of death. It's like everybody's excuse. They don't do anything because they're just so afraid that something bad's going to happen. Bad shit does happen, and it's certainly going to happen to a lot more people if the people who are awake don't figure out a way to energize more people, organize, network. And again, that's why I got the website, freetofindtruth.com. I mean, people are doing it on there, but just not anywhere in big enough numbers. So, again, I just see there's just not enough people that are motivated to act. And it might be because a lot of people can't. They got families, they got jobs, they got to feed their kids. I get it, man. They got us on the conveyor belt, but realize, man, what happens the day the power switch goes off on the conveyor belt? Then you realize all that shit you were running around doing, it's the reason you didn't do what you needed to do, and now you're fucked. Because I think that's what's going to happen to a lot of people. They're going to be like, fuck, man. I thought I was always going to be able to do that. Nope. I thought that same family that I went down that took me down to Los Angeles and showed me the sights, his dad worked in the media. They offered to take me on a trip to New York with them the summer after we graduated. They went to New York. You know, he went up on top. He did the tour to the top of the World Trade Center, and I thought, damn, that's cool, man. I almost went with him, but the thing is, I learned when I went down there, when they invited me to go to L.A. with them, I realized once I was down there, man, you know, I had a job. I had a teenager job, so I had some money. But, man, he expected me to pay for every damn thing down there and even chip in on the hotel, and I was like, shit, man, I don't have this kind of money. This neighborhood is expensive. So, and I did, man. I was just like, wow, that was really expensive for me to go down there with you. I was like, I can't afford to do that. I'm trying to like save up for college and stuff, man. Can't blow it on vacation. And I just always thought like, you know, anytime like parents are usually invite you to do something, man, they're going to help you out at least a little bit. But anyway, so the New York trip, I was like, oh, I'm cool, man. I appreciate that. But I knew I was going to be, way in debt if I went to New York. So, but yeah, I just remember like when I saw that they did all that stuff, I was like, I'm going to go there and do that. But no, there was going to be no World Trade Center. They got there just months before those buildings were gone. But I mean, it was just like, that was another weird thing when that happened. I was like, well, I guess I'm not going to do that. Guess that's now impossible to do that. It just all come down like that. So. And again, I mean, that's the way it's going to be. And I hope that day's still a long ways off. I hope it's not in the next few years. I mean, it feels like it could be in the next few years, the way things are going. I mean, we know the direction's not pretty, but yeah, I mean, eventually that day's going to come, and you can't bank on like, well, I think it's going to be a lot longer, so I'm just going to chill out. I mean, that's just the totally wrong outlook, man. What about again, isn't one of the purposes of life is like procreate and like raise a child better than you were raised? And isn't that the way to make the world a better place? Just like that should be the custom. Like try to do better for your child than your parents did for you. And if your parents do a great job, then they're really setting the bar high. It's like, damn, how am I going to do better than my parents did for me? I don't think too many Americans are having that problem, though. They're probably like, fuck, I could do this better, this better, this better. And it's because everybody grew up it's like, that's who's left in this world. The people who grew up in front of the television. It's like, that's what's left of society. You know? My dad, it's funny, as he's getting older, he talks about things more that he didn't really say, but he talks more about how, you know, like, his mom was just always running around with all these different men and just left him at home in front of the TV, and that's how he became a Yankees fan, because the Yankees were always back on TV, you know, even in Portland, Oregon. So, and again, I mean, there's the power of the TV. A lot of baseball teams closer to my dad than the New York Yankees. It's on the entire other side of the United States. But, man, he's a kid. They're winning. They're on TV. It's fun to watch the winner. And my dad's a normal guy. I mean, that's why a lot of people are that way. My dad finally has woken up, though, to baseball clearly has to be rigged now because it just doesn't make any sense anymore. Anyway, Joe Biden, remember he wanted 70% of people vaccinated by July 4th. We already hit it one time, but Independence Day, coronavirus, COVID vaccine. Run the alphabetic order and reverse the rules of numerology. They all equal 70. He wanted 70% by Independence Day. And the day before that, I saw CNN had a stat up of 47-point-some% had been vaccinated fully in the U.S. And I was like, come on, man. The day before the 4th, 47-point-some%? I doubt it. Nothing but numbers. And again, just a reminder about the death of Paul Westphal as the Suns host the NBA Finals. We covered this at the beginning of the year. Video's still up. You can go back and watch it. None of this information's new. But Paul Westphal traded to Phoenix in 75. This was before the 75th NBA season he died. And their first win against the Bucks will be again, they have 75 wins against the Bucks all time right now, the Suns do. But that was 46 years ago. Paul Westphal sacrificed in Phoenix, all 46. Ordo Ab Chau's 46, like Order Out of Chaos. The Phoenix used to represent the Order Out of Chaos motto. The Economist cover all this stuff we've been talking about. But Paul Westphal, he died on a date with 44 numerology from brain cancer. Brain cancer, chemo kill, they're all 44. And he died 33 days after his birthday. And just like we talked about at the beginning of the year, all these things equal 33. I thought they were going to be the runner-up. I thought they were going to be a big part of the NBA Finals narrative. I thought they were going to be the loser to the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. We got a L.A. Suns Western Conference Finals. It was just the L.A. Clippers instead of Lakers. And then we got the Suns advancing. And Paul Westphal, he died after I already had that theory. And just because people die doesn't mean that their team's going to win championships, but a lot of times they're right up there in the running, and that's why I thought they were going to be the runner-up in the West. But yeah, understand you guys, I mean, these rituals, this stuff is not accidental. It is ritual. Rites, masonry, rites, numbers, numbered rites, numbered pillars. So think about the Masons logo, a compass and a square, instruments of measurement. And again, over the weekend, on July 4th, 7-4, Hurricane 74 in Hebrew, we had the hurricanes passing next to Jamaica and Cuba, where it dumped a lot of rain. And if you watch the news, there was flooding there, of course. On the 52 date, we got the typical flooding. And yeah, I mean, just the same stuff year after year. And again, this is always a reminder of how advanced whatever it is that controls is. And see, like, I want Rambo to explain this more. We see that there's military operations with regards to the weather. Weather warfare has been admitted to with military since 1952 by the Royal Air Force. But I want to hear more from Rambo tomorrow. What does Rambo think? Is this weather warfare? Is it mostly military driven? Is it something spiritual? Is it a spiritual entity? I want Rambo to talk more about these things. I got Rambo, even though he's been around for so long and I give him the floor every week to present, he still is very much a man of mystery to me. And you guys probably know as much about Rambo as I do. I don't ask anything personal about Rambo's life or anything. I just know that he likes to decode and make great presentations. But I wonder, I want to know more about his motivations. What does Rambo want to see happen from putting this knowledge out there? By the way, a mudslide rocked Japan on the day leaving 181 days left in the year. That's the 42nd prime. Japan and rain are both 42 in the most simple cipher. And Japan, no stranger to military experimentation. Japan 42, rain 42. If you think that's stupid, do this for me. Look up Super Bowl 42. There was something very interesting about Super Bowl 42 with regards to rain. It's the only halftime performance in the history of the NFL where it rained. And the song performed was Prince, Purple Rain. So, again, if you think that's a coincidence, I think you're a dumbass. And get the fuck off my channel. And I also think, again, these are war games. These are population control. And there's going to be a whole lot more of it. Remember, Wars 42, World Wars 42. Our bullshit story about Hiroshima and... Well, I don't know. That's not what I meant to say, actually. The bullshit story about Pearl Harbor is what I meant to say. Hiroshima and Nagasaki is all by the numbers, too. But Pearl Harbor is so by the numbers. And... Again, just to remind people, Pearl Harbor got the 114 in it, just like World War. World War's also got the 102. And again, just a big number with war there, 102, the American Civil War on the 102nd day of the year. And 9/11 attack, 102 minutes that catapulted the latest wars in the Middle East. And... yeah, again, just the same old, same old. Don't forget the 9/11 attack was simulated June 1st, 2001, 102 days before the 102-minute attack. In the federal simulation, the cover page was Osama bin Laden's face. And Al-Qaeda's 102. You know. Al-Qaeda's 102 in Jewish gematria. So you might come here and type in Al-Qaeda and say, hey, he said it was 102. It's 41 like the date numerology. There's actually several things there, but Jewish gematria is the most important cipher outside of the base ciphers. Al-Qaeda's 102 there. And it happened on a Tuesday, and Mars is 201 in Jewish gematria. Mars is the god of war. The Jesuits are the military order of the Catholic Church. They have the Templar cross in their logo, like the old military order of the Catholic Church. You write out the Jesuit order, it's 201. And the story is the Templars brought back all the ancient knowledge, the ancient mystery religions to the Catholic Church where they were studied. And if you write out Jewish mysticism, it's also 201. Whoops. Mysticism, 201. And just like the Jesuit order. And again, the Jesuits were created by several Jews who converted to Catholicism. So Ignatius of Loyola is 201, the founder. And so on and so forth. But yeah, I don't think this was an accident this crazy. If you haven't seen the video of this, I mean, it's violent, man. It's just like, God. You know what would be funny? You know what would really annoy me is if even shit like that at this day and age. See, that's what I hate about the technology, man. It's like they literally can make up any kind of news just to present some kind of tragedy to some part of the world. Like they might, let's just say that, and again, I don't know that this didn't happen, but just the possibility of the day and age that we live in. Let's say that this didn't even happen in Japan, and this was just some story they wanted to present to us in our news just for more depressing shit like, oh, look how horrible that looks, because they kept showing it on CNN that day, the footage of the mud just coming through and smashing through the town, just so unexpected, captured on the camera that was there. And what's funny, though, is we live in this day and age where, I mean, we look at movie scenes like that every day. I mean, they could make something like that. And somebody'd say, well, wouldn't people figure out that that's not the story? And it's like, no. People in Japan would, but are they even getting the news there? And if people did find out, would they even care? I mean, this is what's going on every day. It's like nobody gives a shit about anything. What you guys, 10 years ago, if you went on YouTube and typed in 9/11 firefighters, do you know what came up? Let's see. YouTube 9/11 firefighters. Yeah, now in New York City. This is not the way it used to be. It used to be that all sorts of that same video footage would come out of the guys who are interviewed right after they come out of the bottom floor of the World Trade Centers, and they're just covered all in dust. And while they're being interviewed, while people are still leaving the area that are all in dust, these two guys are explaining that bombs are going off in there. They make it very clear, bombs are going off in there. And there's also footage that used to be all over YouTube of people who went in the World Trade Center just before it came down who did record, and you could see that there was smoke and shit, and just like, you could tell stuff was messed up all down below, down before the buildings came down. How does that make any damn sense if the story is that the planes who flew in way up here caused all this instability that made the whole building crash down? How can the bottom building be all messed, the bottom of the first floor be all messed up? If this is the story. There's so many people in the world that know the story is complete bullshit. Where are those people at? You know? It's just... That's what I mean. These people just get away with lying to us every day. How about that King Super shooting on March 22nd? The video footage they put out of that. YouTube ended up deleting everybody's video and giving strikes for people who shared that video footage for sharing inappropriate material. It's like, wait a minute. Inappropriate? What was inappropriate? There wasn't any proof anyone died anywhere. There wasn't any blood anywhere. There's an old man at the front of the store who's not making any sense. He doesn't seem to be worried at all that he said, yeah, there was just a shooter there and I heard the shots, and he's supposedly 5 feet from a dead body, but he's just like he doesn't even care about any of it. Like that's what goes on every day at King Supers. Like he was just used to it being a war zone with shots fired. He's just chilling by the door, waiting for the cameraman to come tell him where he just heard the shots last come from. And the cameraman just hustles around the building, runs a big circle around it, comes back to the front of the store, and the old man's just finally leaving. You know when you go to a grocery store, there's like oftentimes sliding door on one side here and sliding door one time here, and sometimes they want you to come in this side and go out this side. It's like that kind of front entrance, and that guy's just right in that first area where you come in where normally like the shopping carts are just waiting for you. He's just standing right there just at the front of the store. This is like, come on, man. This is what we're taking away the latest rights for in Colorado. You know, then they came through with their gun legislation on the day, leaving 259 days left in the year. Same day we said to look out for. But yeah. So anyway, if you guys want to read the book and you don't have any money, the ebook versions are free. Both of my books, just go to the Patreon. Just come to my website, GematriaEffect.news. Click the Patreon link. On your cell phone, you have to scroll down. You can do it on your cell phone too. You just scroll down. Or you can remember my Patreon website, patreon.com/Zachary K. Hubbard. And the top post right now when you go there, that's today. By tomorrow, there'll be another post on top of it. But today's July 6th. It's my gift to try and fight back against the New World Order on George W. Bush's 75th birthday. By the way, with regards to the Freemasonry connection, Bush is 58, right? Bush has the 58 in it. And George W. Bush is 58 in the most pure cipher, just like Freemasonry, just like secret society. You know, their thing to get your first 3 degrees, you got to do the tracing board 58. There's secrets in Solomon's Temple, 58. Relations with the Rosicrucians, 58. Pope Francis does that Masonic hidden hand post. He's a Jesuit. He might very well be a Mason. They're definitely related. Again, the 32nd degree of the Scottish Rite shares the same motto with the Jesuits. Don't forget how they synced up the 59th election with Pope Francis 46 weeks after his birthday. We get number 46, Catholic 46, 46 books in the Catholic Old Testament, Catholic Jewish, Israel created on 14/5, 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament. Suns in the finals tonight, 145 and 145 all time in the playoffs. First finals in 76. Next win against the Bucks is 76. First day of the finals is 7-6. And like I tell people on Patreon, I said, 5 years ago, I would have just put that riddle out with confidence and just watched it come right through. But it's a different game now, man. They line up stuff like that every day, and you got to be careful because things like that don't come through now, and it makes it tough. You only got to go with the most certain of certain riddles these days. It's like they set a bunch of bear traps for you. Because you'd think, that's the way it was 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I would have been doing it for free. I'd been saying, come on, man. First finals in 76. Next win against the Bucks, 76 all time at 7-6. Plus they moved the finals date, which they did. It was supposed to be 7-8 all year. They had it posted that game 1 of the finals would be on 7-8. But now they bump it to 7-6, 61 days from Chris Paul's birthday. Again, final 61. And never forget, Chris Paul, grandfather, dead at 61. They said he was killed by a random group of thugs. Said Chris Paul's grandfather was killed by a random group of thugs at age 61. So Chris Paul had a game that day. He scored 61 points. And just earlier that day, just before his grandpa got killed, he just signed with the Demon Deacons in Wake Forest, the town of Winston-Salem, the Witches, where Stephen A. Smith and many other sports journalists hail from. And the other year, I was talking about Stephen A. Smith's mother being dead at 61 right before the NBA Finals began. We were talking about that the other year. And the most simple cipher finals is 61. Let's see. Stephen A. Smith, mother, dead at 61. Hold on. Maybe she died on a 61 date. Let me see this. Oh, she died on June 1st. She died on 6/1. That's what it was. Right as the finals were kicking off. You know. Janet Smith on 6/1. She died on the 44 date. Kill, execution. Her name, Janet Smith, 61, like finals. Janet Smith, 38, like finals. And then I point out the time that the death was 135 days from his birthday, and the Cavs had just scored 135 points. The Cavs had just scored 135 points to advance to that NBA Finals. Most points in a playoff game in franchise history. Okay. Yeah, a lot of stuff to go back and review, man. There's a lot of stuff we covered. We've been here for 8 years, man. It's a lot of content. But, yeah, and then I want to address one more thing before I get off, too. A lot of people quit supporting last month because they're mad at me for spending so much time on sports, and they don't think it's appropriate for me to be focused so much on sports with all the shit going on. I totally hear that argument, and if you don't want to support me because of that, that's perfectly fine, and I think you have a valid reason in your thought process. But understand this. It's not that I think it's an appropriate time to really focus on sports. It's that it's like I just don't know what the right course is to get people to care enough. And it's like we're really good at the sports, but if we could get even better, if we could perfect this, if that's possible, and I don't know if it is because they hold the cards. And again, you guys, it's obvious that they've been watching me do this for a long time. The USA Today article was written about me in 2016. And, you know, it's like we've been close to perfect for a long time. It's just, I'm always thinking like, what is it that we can do to make this, people care more about this work? And, yeah, it's just funny because, you know, I put in even more work last month than I have in any month in a while, just doing everything. And overall, it was too much because it just made like a bunch of people bitter and they felt like I spent too much time on that. And it's just like, yeah, I mean, it's just hard, man. It's just like, it's just like, what are we going to do to make what needs to happen, man? And it probably isn't going to be degrading sports. I mean, I can be honest about that, but it could be. It could be if we perfected it and just were like, no, there was just laser and you just couldn't. Because people are in the mainstream. That's what I always think about. It's like, you got to figure out how to get these mainstream people. They don't care about the news. They don't care past the headlines, and they just don't want to hear anything that questions it because then you're a conspiracy theorist. It's like, I just don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know what else to do. And it's just all frustrating. It's just, you know, being in the Pike's Place, I feel like that could be effective if it wasn't sabotaged. But it's obvious they're going to sabotage it. I just feel like there's more forces. It's like the most dedicated people when it comes to my work are the trolls. I hate that. I mean, if you've ever been on my Patreon, the trolls are the most active there. Anytime I post something, they're the first 10 comments. Just like, God, man, just like, you can't. And they do that to sabotage the community. They make it so people don't want to be a part of it. There's too much negativity, all these negative people in the comments attacking everybody. And, yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. No one else to say, True Seeker. But if you guys do want to read the book, if you want to help get the knowledge out there, maybe we're planting seeds and we're doing our part for 100 years from now when the breakthrough finally comes. So, I don't know. I always got to keep some positive outlook. Yeah. All right, you guys. Well, I think we'll leave it there. TFR is on tomorrow. I'll be taking all your calls. I'm going to try hardly say anything in TFR tomorrow. And I really would like for you guys to try and keep your calls to 1 to 2 minutes. Because, it's a struggle for a lot of you. And again, a lot of you guys call in every week, and then you struggle to do the 1 2-minute thing too. It just starts making me wonder. It's like, okay, I know how dedicated the trolls are. What if all these people that try to be like friends who even call in every week and just taking up all this time? And it's just like, I don't know, man. My head is just like, it'd be something to find out was like that. That movie we covered, that trial of the Chicago 7. Where I showed that clip in the movie where the guy realized that the whole time he thought they were leading a movement, it turned out almost everybody around him was an agent. It's just like, oh man. Sometimes I feel like it is that way. Yesterday I had a guy calling in telling me that he's pretty sure all these people are around me agents because they're always calling in with bad information, and then he tried to change my mind about something and gave me a piece of bad information. I was like, God, what if he's an agent? He's an agent telling me I got agents around me everywhere giving me bad information, and then he gives me bad information. Come on, man. So... yeah, and certain people, man, I feel bad. There's great people in this community who are calling a lot lately, and I don't pick up the phone because every time I pick up the phone, they're not good about respecting my time. I tell them, like, okay, I got like 5 minutes right now, and then like 10 minutes have gone by. I say, hey, man, I like I said, I got 5 minutes. I got to, and then they're like, well, hold on, man, one more thing. And I'm just like, hold on, man, one more thing? No. No, man. I picked up the phone right now, and Sweet Lady's already mad at me. It's like, you guys, I'm doing this work all the time. When I'm not doing this work, I don't exactly want to be taking phone calls at 7, 8, 9 p.m. when a lot of people call. It's just like, no, that's the time I'm going to give Sweet Lady some attention. But anyway, it's just like, if you're some of those people that are wondering why I don't pick up the phone and you're texting and getting mad, it's because every time you pick up the phone, I got to be on the phone for at least an hour. I don't got an hour to listen to, and a lot of times it's just like, man... again, what you're saying in an hour could be said in 5 minutes. So, and I realize because a lot of people are lonely and they want someone to talk to about this, and a lot of people in the world want me to be that person. And it's just like, again, you guys, there's a lot of reasons I'm just worn out, man. I've been taking a lot of damn phone calls, and some of you guys might be getting hurt right away thinking I'm talking about you. I'm not necessarily talking about you, but you know, it's just. Yeah, it's just, man. I wish somewhere I logged all my hours I put in the last 8 years, man. It's just, it's frustrating thinking of all the other things I could have done that might have been actually more helpful to making something happen in the world. And it's things as simple as maybe never even sharing this work and had just focused on establishing the business that I had going when I first started that was on its way before I got destroyed on November 15, 2014. Because, I cared about the same things. Sometimes I think back, like, imagine that I just made it. And it didn't get sabotaged. And now I could pool money into... But I guess the one thing is that I wouldn't have built up a community and a following and put out a lot of knowledge and information. But still, it hasn't made the difference to... And again, it's just like you don't know either. Had I built up resources and now had something to finance something nice and make something really cool happen, is that even gonna reach enough people? I mean... maybe somebody in the world trying to do that right now, not reaching the people they thought they would. It's just... all people care about is what's in the mainstream, and that's what I hate, man. It's like They Live. That's why They Live is maybe the greatest movie ever made, because it ends with the news media getting blown up and finally people waking up. And I swear to God, that's what it's going to take. It's almost like I wish I signed up for the military right now. I don't know if I can get away from saying this. Sometimes I wish it was like the movies. You know, the military... you know, guy who was real focused and did his job there and got real good at his craft. When he got out, he realized his government was wrong and he went against them like that movie Sniper. It's like, God, that's what we need. We need like a team of 1,000 of those people. I wish I was on it. So, yeah, man, I mean... evil people run this nation. They need to be done away with. I'm convinced by whatever means necessary. Unless it's you can't fight evil with evil. But I'm not sure that all killing is evil, man. You got evil entities responsible for the needless deaths and killings of people all sorts of ways every single day. From needless war to this sick food policy they push of making all this toxic food for our systems abundant and cheap. They know exactly what they're doing to us, man. And, yeah, so it just sucks watching it all go down, man. It sucks. It sucks. Work your ass off, put together a masterpiece in time for the pandemic to wake people up. It sells 5,000 fucking copies. Get the fuck out of here, man. And remember how that bitch called me early in the thing and told me it was already ranked 56th and she saw it going to the top 10? Now I just know that was these people fucking with me too. I just fucking hate it, man. I tempered my expectations. I was like, really? Call me up and tell me it's 56? Like, how do these people even get your number? Oh, my God. So, thank you to everyone who got the book. I appreciate all 5,000 of you. Even though there's not even 5,000 people, there's people out there that bought like 50 copies themselves, man. Thank you to all the people who bought the book, though. And again, if you guys can't afford it, that's fine. Just download it and read it. I'm grateful for all the people who read it. Who knows? Maybe 50,000 copies were downloaded for free and read. Tell myself that so I feel better about doing the work. But yeah, it's also why I haven't been able to finish my latest book. Sometimes when I read my latest book, I feel like I'm too ranty in it anyway. I'm just being honest, you guys. A lot of you wondering why I'm not live streaming and stuff as much and doing as many videos. I mean, I'm still here doing the work, but I don't know, man. I feel like I got to fix my energy, too. I don't mean to be negative Nancy, but I am. I'm just being real. I'm just being real, man. In the last 8 years I've been doing this, I feel the worst I feel. Even worse than after my house got all fucked up and burglarized. And I mean, that was bad, but now it's bigger than that. Now it's like the whole world's fucked up, man. And people are just marching right along. It's just so frustrating to watch. So, yeah. And I gotta be real too, man. If you got people in your life that have bad energy and they put you in a bad spot, you got to learn to stay away from those people, even if they're your own family. And I'm not even going to say anything because I might have somebody in my own family watching right now, but like that person is just such bad energy, and I'm just so tired of living a whole lifetime and them just making people feel like shit for no reason. It's just like that also happened to me around the same time. I went down to Seattle and got pissed off too. It's just like draining, man. It's draining. So. Some people in this world, the phrase "misery loves company." It is the realest shit, man. Some people just want everybody to be miserable because they're miserable, and it's just like, why do they got to do this every time? But they do, man. They do. You know what else? Here. Again, if you guys do buy my book, you don't have to buy it from the behemoth. Just search my name, Zachary K. Hubbard and Number Games. There's a lot of places that sell it besides the behemoth. But if you type in Number Games, Zachary K. Hubbard, the book does come up. And I noticed recently there's been some obvious trolls leaving reviews. There's a lot of reviews now. Thank you to everyone who left a review. But I forget, how do you sort by? Oh, most recent. Okay. So somebody kept it real short and sweet with the last review. But yeah, there's a lot of nice reviews, and you can see like which ones are verified purchase. But then you got like reviews from Pip. So, and Pip doesn't have a verified review, but look at this. Interesting and fun, but lacking scientific credibility. How? And what you'd be looking for is statistical credibility. And again, like lacking scientific credibility. It's like, are we trying to make a scientific argument? No, we're trying to make an argument based in logic, reason, not necessarily science. So we're not even talking about there's the person's review right away. If anyone can offer valid reviews by any credible scientist, who, like Anthony Fauci? Like to this guy, if Anthony Fauci gave it a good review, he'd give it 5 stars. You know what I mean? But also, did he even buy the book? Otherwise, it is a numbers game that can be applied to almost anything and work to fit your narrative on a particular... Really? So, like 3 presidents dead on July 4th in a perfect ritual with numbers that are used redundantly that we show all the time are connected to killing? I make the point about 74 and death and killing in a big way just in chapter 1, as I always have. But, yeah, I just hate people like this. Probably didn't even read the book, just writing some bullshit thing trying to sound smart. Otherwise, it is a number game that can be applied to almost anything and work to fit your narrative. No, it's not. You can write out bullshit sentences like a bunch of the Gematria trolls will write out sentences and say that means things. I've never taught that. That's just bullshit. That doesn't mean Gematria is bullshit. That's what bullshit minds do with Gematria. But here, everybody who bought the book gave it 5 stars. Anyway, well, I guess there's more reviews, but there was like 3 reviews left in a row that were 1 star. And notice it still has a 5-star review, but there were like 3 1-star reviews left in a row, and they're just all bull. It wasn't even that one right there. That one was bullshit itself, but the 1 stars that were left were just all. None of them were verified purchase, and they were all bullshit. You know. So. But yeah, I mean, this book, it's you know what? Fuck your scientific argument. My book is more credible than any fucking scientific theory. I'll tell you that much in terms of what they're reporting out and teaching people in school. Please, show me something more convincing than my book in the world of science. I'm setting myself up there because there's to be some easy things to prove, but fuck, man. The point is, read my book and try to disprove it. Try to make a real argument, not some, I need a scientific expert to tell me if I should give this book more reviews and take it seriously. Get the fuck out of here, loser. God, look, do the statistical probability, and I don't even make a small argument about statistical probability in the first chapter. Go back and read, but if I didn't, then I'll do it in the next book. Because it's improbable. Again, this is an improbable list right here. Gematria, which comes from Hebrew, which is a concept much older than English, is about putting words together that have matching numerical values and a natural relationship. And it comes from biblical practice. Okay, Jewish, 74, right? They say Jesus was Jewish, right? Jesus, 74. Gematria is a Jewish practice. Gematria equals 74. English is 74, right? But anyway, Jesus 74, cross 74, Messiah 74, gospel, that's the story of Jesus 74, Jesus spoke in parables 74. All those things are 74. That this English-speaking nation's birthday, holiday, holy day, holiday 74, right? This is an improbable list of coincidences. Again, there's a fraction of a percentage chance of a word having the same simple English gematria value in English. That means you have to multiply a fraction of a percent times a fraction of a percent times a fraction of a percent times a fraction of a percent for all of these things. That's Jesus, cross, Messiah, gospel, parables. Let's just cut it off there. Let's not even put the Jewish on there, even though that makes perfect sense too. Let's just take those 5 things and multiply times a fraction of a percent, and let's notice that we have better odds of winning the Mega Millions, okay? See, it's fucking idiots that can't think on this level, because this shit's not that hard to figure out. It's not that hard to figure out. But they need somebody to tell it for them. And until the authorities tell it for them, you know, the guy that would be on CNN that would say scientific expert, until he hears it from him, he just can't think for himself. That's the nation you live in. A nation of a bunch of sorry-ass motherfuckers who can't think for themselves, who get led around their whole lives by liars. And, yeah. And just making jokes on us every day. April Fool's Day. That's every day. All right. I'm going to leave it there, Truth Seeker. I'll be back on for TFR tomorrow night. I'll be back on the Patreon tomorrow. If something big happens between now and then, I'll be back on for that. But, I mean, that's the other thing, too, is I just haven't seen anything that's just like, there's just nothing that, it just kind of like, now that the media doesn't have any, there's just nothing big. There hasn't been anything really big to expose in the news lately either. If I thought there was something significant, I jumped right on here. But it's just like, what else am I going to show that I haven't already shown? I mean, just keep showing everybody every single day that the news is all bullshit by the numbers. How many more years can I do this for straight? I'm trying to get somewhere, not dig us. I mean, it's just, you know. Stuck, man. I guess that's another word for how I feel. I just feel so stuck, and I hate it. I hate it. It's like losing to losers, man. That's what we're doing as a society. We're losing to losers. The people who rule over us are losers, man. They're pathetic. And they get away with it because we're even more pathetic. And that's the problem. So, all right, I'm done bitching for now, you guys. I do hope my mood shifts around. And it's not like me to be like this. Like, normally my energy's even bigger in the summer. That's why I'm like, man, this is trouble. It's trouble that I feel this way this time of year. This isn't normally how I am this time of year. But it's just because I realize, man, it's bad. It's fucking bad, man. We all know it's bad. And there's just no sign from these sleeping masses, man, that they're willing to stand up to what we need to stand up to. And it's just, without them, man, we're fucked. Because humanity is a link chain, and they are the majority of the weight, and they are dragging us to the bottom. We got to anchor these people, man. All right, you guys. I'll try to cheer up between now and next time. But I do appreciate everyone who shares the work and supports the work. And again, if you haven't read Chapter 1 of Letters and Numbers, you really should read Chapter 1 of Letters and Numbers. You could read it tonight. You could read it before you went to go to bed. And by the way, that's a great habit, man. Maybe not looking at electronic form. Looking at electronic screens and reading, not my favorite thing to do. But I mean, reading a book, anybody's book, reading a book before you go to bed, it's a great way to go to bed. It's a way to settle down your body, get yourself in like a relaxed state. And a lot of you should remember that from school. You know, reading in school was putting you to sleep. But still, read something interesting that you actually care about. But still, just even something you're interested in, reading it, you know, right before you go to bed. It sinks in the brain, puts you in a space to sleep. There's something good about reading. You know, you can't just watch videos and TV all the time. It's like reading exercises other parts of your mind. It like makes your imagination work more because you have to think about it. You have to visualize it. You know, it's not just being something for you to just see. It's like you got to make your mind create the picture. The picture's not already made for you. But yeah, we'll leave it there. Appreciate all